Hello and good morning, everyone. It's Jason from AutoCAD, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar, What's New in AutoCAD 2022. Technical consultant Glenn will be presenting for us today. So before we start, we'll just go through about AutoCAD. We're all about fostering innovation through consulting and training. AutoCAD Technologies plays a vital role in helping infrastructure, building, mining, construction, architecture, and manufacturing industries reach their full potential by delivering complete technology solutions and support services such as education and consulting. Working with visionaries shape future of design and in turn enable them through innovation to minimize risks, improve productivity and achieve excellence. AutoCAD Technologies is considered the business partner of choice and trusted advisor by vendors and clients. We partner with major software and hardware vendors to meet our clients' technology needs. We strive to exceed client expectations by pinpointing their challenges and delivering solutions through experience and innovation. We work with clients and companies of any size nationally and abroad. Over to you, Glenn.
Okay, thank you. All right, so what are we going to be looking at today? Well, there's a few things here, but AutoCAD 22's got a few new commands. They've enhanced a number, but we'll look at a lot of the new ones. So the ones we're going to look at today, we're going to look at the easier installation of the 2022 products, the new look start screen, and what advantages that gives us, floating drawing tabs. This is going to be a great interest to people with multi-screens, block counting, excuse me. So that will take, just makes it so much easier than the extract data capability that we've used in the past. Also, share current drawing. This is an interesting thing of sharing drawings on the web. So we'll look at that in some detail. Also, the trace command that comes with the web and mobile app and how that interacts with our drawings when we're using them on the desktop. Also, we're going to look at a little bit, and I do mean a little bit, at Autodesk Docs. We're going to look at how we can push drawings as PDFs up to Autodesk Docs and also integrate with Autodesk Docs with 2022. We'll also look at some behind-the-scenes enhancements that are making AutoCAD faster for us. And we'll finish off with the Q&A session. Okay, let's look at easier installation. Now, this threw me off when I first started installing 2022. I've just taken some screen captures from AutoCAD LT 2022. But basically, you start it up. You say yes to the agreement. You then locate where you want to put the program and hit the install button. It now installs and is ready to install. Now that threw me off completely. I've got AutoCAD Civil, Electrical, and Plant 3D on my hard disk. And I was waiting for all of my selections of libraries and options and things like that. They're not there. They basically load the full program now. So if you're an AutoCAD electrical user, you'd be used to picking all the manufacturer databases and all of the standards that you want to use or not use. That doesn't happen now. Everything gets installed. So that's something quite different. I think one thing that did throw me, if I just go out to AutoCAD, just a minute, was if I wanted to do a repair on AutoCAD, that seemed to have disappeared. And what it is now, you'll come through, so there's my AutoCAD electrical. I will hit reset settings to default, and that supposedly will fix most of my issues. So that was something quite different. All right. The new look start tab. So it's changed quite a bit. Initially, you sort of think, oh, geez, they've changed it for the sake of it. But being quite honest, we're going to have a look at this in action. There's a reason for doing it. They've really smartened this up. Now, we've still got our open. We've still got our new. They're still there. Now, if we look at our recent document's opened, you'll notice a few different things going on. You can see this is on my computer. This one is in the cloud. So I'm now accessing files that I'm sharing in the cloud. I can also change it to how I want to view all these. My preference is still this type of viewing. With any of these drawings, I can open or open as read-only, unless, of course, if they're a cloud one, I've just got the ability to open. Now, if any of you are going to pick up or have picked up Autodesk Docs as part of the AEC collection, you've decided you're going to use that. After you've done all your setups and your configuration of docs, you can then access directly into the docs. So I'm just into a sample project that I've put up there with a few drawings in there. So I can just open drawings from docs. You've still got all your nice learning tools there, so they're easy to get to. Your what's new, online help, customer support, everything's still there. And we've also got this announcement button over on the side, which just is giving you tips and tricks based on what sort of work you've been doing and things like that. So quite a nice setup with the new startup screen. Next thing to look at, floating drawing tabs. So you can see here now I can tear off the tabs and place them wherever I want. So just to make that more clear, we're going to have a look at that inside AutoCAD. So let's just go and open a couple of drawings. Now, this is going to be a great benefit to people with multiple screens. Instead of opening a second AutoCAD session to put drawings on the second screen, I can now just tear out the tab and put that across to my second screen, which of course I don't have at the moment. So I'm just going to set these up on this one screen while I explain a few things. So I can tear that one off. I can tear this one off. And now I've got multiple drawings open. I think one thing that annoyed me a little bit, and I'm hearing a little bit of the same feedback, is I was expecting to see a command line in each drawing. There is just one command line, which by default is on your main screen, but you can move it to any other screen you want. But if this factory drawing was on a second screen, I'd be referring back to a command line that only sits on the first screen while I'm dealing with that floor plan sample. Maybe that's something that will come in the future, I don't know. But at the moment, be aware, this means we don't have to open multiple AutoCADs to put these on multiple screens. And we're just stuck with this one command line. Now, if I want to reattach these, I just drag these up to the top. And you can see the tabs will appear here. So quite a nice interface change there. All right, we'll close that drawing down. And we'll look at block counting. So, for years, I've been using the extract data command to get my block counts out. Well, with this new command, we can now do things quite simply. So under my view, under palettes, I've got a count. I open that up and immediately it finds every block in that drawing and counts it. Now you'll notice I've got a couple of warning signs coming up here. Now, this is going beyond anything that I've seen before, and I think it's going to be a great benefit to a lot of people. If I pick on this one, it tells me information about the block, but I've got an overlapping object. Now, if I pick on this, it will zoom into where that is. So you can see, okay, overlapping. Now, if I pick on that, just to move, I can see there was two of them. But now that I've moved it, the overlapping has disappeared. Okay. The other one it's got was this one, which tells me it's an exploded block. So if I zoom in, it actually says, look, well, I can see lines there. And you go, okay, well, let's look at that one a little bit, in a little bit more detail. Let's come along to that phone there. I'll explode that. And straight away, you can see this FN phone, exploded block, and it zooms into it. So that one is a little bit easier to understand in the sample that they give us. Let's excuse me. So I'll just undo that to get that back. Okay. Now I'm sitting there with all of this information, but how can I put it on my screen and use it properly? Up in this top left corner of your accounts palette, you've got creates a table containing the selected items. So I can come here and pick which items I want to show, or pick all of them, do an insert. Now, I've obviously got millimeters and inches all combined here, so I'll just do a 25. So straight away, you can see I've got 66 chairs. So this is actually a field. So I'm going to scale it up again. Let's scale it up by 5 so we can really show this as we're doing stuff. Okay, move that up there. Let's come here. Now we've got a chair there. Let's delete that. Okay, let's delete that. And what you find, and let's just check which one that is. That's chair 7. So if I do a regen all, you can see that's updated that to 64. Undo it. They come back, that's come back, okay. Another way, so this is interactive because of the fields, but you've got to do your regen to make sure it stays up to date. I've seen people doing this one as well, where you can actually come through and with an item here, say a chair, I can go through and sort of zoom into each chair one at a time, get information on it. It's telling me it's got a count of 66, and I've got this little insert that field with 66 on it. I've seen other people doing this where they're coming through and basically saying, look, what I want to do is annotate that. Again, I'll annotate that, and I'll do a multi-leader. And let's just go and pick on that there. I might write total number of chairs. Okay, so they've got that 66 separate, and they'll do stuff like this. And it's like, I might just put an equal sign at the end of this. And then moving that to there. Now, personally, I didn't like that. So what I did was just go a step further, double click on that to edit it. And you see it comes up as a field, and it tells me that's the expression it's using. So I'm just going to copy that with the Control-C. I'll delete that now, and go back into this little bit of text, and go to the end of that, and just lost that there, and I'll come in here and I'll do an insert field, Control-V. Okay, so I've now put that all in one piece of text. So it's a little bit more work, but I feel a little bit neater than I've seen a lot of other people displaying this. So a nice block counting capability there. Next thing to look at, share your current drawing. So we're talking about sharing this with web and mobile apps. So in AutoCAD, I can come through and I can share a link to any drawing, and I can do it as a view only or an edit and save a copy, which means the person at the other end has got full editing and saving rights. And then all I do is do a copy link. So one thing you need to be aware of, there are some file size limits. So the host drawing or any single reference drawing can't exceed 50 meg, and the total size of all the uploaded drawings can't exceed 200 meg. So I think that should be okay for a lot of us using AutoCAD. So let's say we take this drawing, and what I want to do is collaborate with other people. So I can come through and just say, look, under collaborate, I can come through here with share and just share the drawing. Okay, so it's going to create a link for this. Just takes a few seconds. Now I can either pick it's view only or edit and save copy. Once I do that, I can copy that link. Okay, which means I could send an email to someone. I'm just going to shut this down. I can send an email to someone with this information in. They get their email and they'll come through and paste that in. And they'll basically open that drawing. So they've got to set up their web app or have their mobile app all set up to be able to utilize this. Okay, so all fonts are being displayed as simplex, that's fine. But now I've got the drawing, even with that latest change in there. So I've got all of my draw tools here, annotate, modify tools. I've got my layering tools, I've got block inserting, I can look at XREFs, and this new tracing capability. Now, I can, as you can see, delete things, I can draw into here, or I can use this trace capability, and I'll add this, and it's basically good for doing things like markups. You might come up with some other ideas. But basically, I've put a piece of tracing paper over the top of the drawing, and I can use all my tools and draw whatever it is I want. I could put notes in and things like that, but you can see this is all being drawn on this sheet of tracing paper. So if I say done, what I find, I've got this trace one by Glenn Barrett. I can switch it on and off. Okay. So they could then save that and send it back, or what I'm going to do is just open this in my desktop. So let's just call that one. So I'll save that. So you've got to save it before you can open it up in the desktop. Let's go back to AutoCAD. Just make sure this is coming across. Okay, looks like it's doing it now. No, it's not. Hopefully my internet site's trying to open AutoCAD. Open. It's always the same. You can test this 1,000 times by yourself as soon as you do it in front of somebody, and for some reason it's gone to my AutoCAD 2021. That's because it's the last AutoCAD I opened. Okay. So there it is. It's back in here. My big problem is because it's saved AutoCAD 2021, I've now got an issue that it's not doing what I want. So I'm going to have to close this. We're going to have to close 2022. So just give me a minute while I sort this out. So if any of you are running multiple AutoCADs, be aware whatever one you open last will be the one that AutoCAD will try and get to by default. So I'm just opening that one. I'll just continue the web for the time being while AutoCAD opens. It's open. And I'll come here and open in desktop. Thank you. Right, it opened up in 2022 this time. So there's a trick for new players that you just don't want to get caught on. So we've got a traces palette. So what it is, there's my drawing. They might have done changes, but they might have also done some markups for me. So now I can double click on this and I can open these traces and see all the comments and things that they've made and do the changes while I'm working still in the drawing. So you can still work in there. Okay, so this is quite a different way of working. But I'll show you one thing I really liked about the traces. If I come and open a drawing with XREFs. Let's cancel there. Let's go back to here and open this factory drawing. So this factory drawing, if I type XREF, has 4 files referenced into it. Now, a number of times I've had it where people send me a drawing, they don't send me all the XREFs, or you've got to go through the e-transmit. So you're coming through all of that e-transmit capability and doing all your work through there, which can take time. This is really nice. I can also get to the share through the quick access menu at the top. So if I come through and say, look, I want to share this, it acts like an e-transmit, and it actually picks up all of the reference files as well. So I'm going to give an edit and save copy. I'll copy the link. And we'll just close this down again. And we'll come back up in here and paste that in. So it's opening up my web app, bringing in that factory drawing. Now this will take a little bit longer because it's bringing it, and you can see the files coming in, and it's substituting all the simplex for each of the extracts. So that's why it's taking a little bit longer there. But basically what I've got now is this has been sent to somebody else, and they have got all the reference files already linked in. So it's not worrying about pathing and all that sort of stuff. It's all there together. So again, I can come along, I can start drawing my drawing, or I can do another trace, do a markup, whatever you want. But this is a neat way of quickly getting a file to somebody else, and they can open it in their desktop from here. So have a think about using your web app and this this share capability, and even that trace that's also in there. Okay, what else can we do? Well, sorry, let's come back into there. So we had a look at the sharing. We had a look at the tracing. Most probably the next thing to do is having a look at Autodesk Docs and how AutoCAD interacts with that. Now, the new tool we've got is this pushing to Autodesk Docs. Okay, so we'll have a look at what that is. But basically, anytime you push a drawing to Autodesk Docs, it creates a PDF of the layout. Okay, now there's a lot of information here. If you're also going to work with Autodesk Docs, it's going to be a lot of questions, but go and have a look on the knowledge area of Autodesk. They've got a lot of information about how this all works. And there we go. So lots of questions. What's happening when? What is Autodesk Docs? You've got all your questions answered about this document management system, how your license and entitlements manage. So any questions you've got on this with 2022, go and have a look. There's a lot of information there. Now, I'm going to open up Docs here. So let's just go to a new tab. I've got a link to my Docs. So this is a great document management tool that Autodesk are building. So you start off at the base level with Docs, and you can start getting into design collaboration. You can do takeoffs. You can move into the build where you're interacting with the people on site. So there's a whole sort of workflow path to go through all of this stuff. So you can see I've already got a couple of drawings in here. But if I was to come into, say, this floor plan drawing, that's coming off the one that I've just shared, because that's the cloud. So it's getting up the most up-to-date revision. Now, what I want to do here is push this to Autodesk Docs. So again, if I go to Collaborate, here I've got an Autodesk Docs panel, and I can push it. What it does, it looks at creating PDFs of the layouts. So it's very layout orientated. While I'm here, I can add other sheets, okay? I can also load sheet sets if I am using sheet sets. So once I've selected this, I can select a folder up on Docs. So I'm going to put this into my uploaded Docs, and I'm going to upload that sheet. So basically, it's almost it's doing a plot. There you go. So I get a little info bubble down here saying that it's complete. So it's created a PDF plot of my layout one. So coming back in there, I should now have uploaded documents in there, and there's my floor plan sample 01 from layout 1 PDF. So I can share this with non-AutoCAD users using Docs. The other thing, of course, is you can be using your drawings on here anyway. So, going back, let's just shut that down. Let's go back into where my docs are. So I've got version control in here. I can do markups. I can do all sorts of things. So we're not talking about docs today, but it's worth investigating. Instead of just having things on your server, you can start using the cloud, sharing with other people on the project, other companies on the project, and really taking yourself to the next level. So that comes back to when you come down to your start here. This gives you direct access into your Autodesk Docs. There's those 3 drawings, and there's my uploaded docs, which in this case, it says it doesn't contain any directly with this application because that was a PDF file. So, I could use Adobe and got into it that way. So what else have we got? Well, there are some behind the scenes enhancements. We're now getting more stuff put into the multi-core. So they chucked in hatch boundary detection and background plotting. So both of those are now a multi-core capability. So that's going to speed those 2 things up. There is also something in 2022, and it's quite strange if you wish. Anyone that's using 3D, they've put in a 3D graphics technical preview of this new graphics system that they're putting in, and it works very well with shaded viewports. So let's just go back there and have a look at AutoCAD. Now, if I just go into any drawing for the time being, so I'll just go to Recents and I'll get this one off my hard disk. What we are talking about here, this isn't a 3D drawing, but it's when you're in a shaded mode looking at 3D, there's a command now that we can switch on called 3D Tech Preview. By default, it is switched off because this isn't sort of part of it. This is actually asking us to investigate it with Autodesk, send comments to them. There's a whole lot of information on this, but you can switch it on and get it to work. However, before you'll get carried away going, I've got to do this, you have to do a couple of checks first. So if I go into DX Dialog through my Windows run here, I can run that. And what I'm looking for on the next page is you've got to have a direct 3D DDI of 12 and feature level of at least 11. So if you've got those, then this new technical preview will work, okay? So you can give that a run. So anyone that's doing stuff like Civil 3D, Plant 3D, and you're constantly working in that shaded environment, or maybe you're just using base AutoCAD in 3D, you can take advantage of this new tool. Now, if things crash and all that, Autodesk want to know. So you're becoming a little bit part of their beta test team. So be aware that it's not fail-safe. All right, coming back to the slide, getting more information. Now, if you want more information on what is in AutoCAD 2022, go to the help. Now, the help file is in there and has a lot of information. So I'll just open that up while we're talking about it. So this comes with your AutoCAD. This is your help file. Go in and have a look. You've got more information here. You can see things that we've been talking about, the trace, the count, the floating drawings, floating drawing tabs, the save current drawing, etc. They're all in there. Plus it gets into your AutoCAD commands and system variables references. So people that are into a bit of programming and need to know a little bit more stuff that's in, there's all of this placed here. So there's a lot of new system variables that you can get access to as well. Another place to go is the Knowledge Network. The Knowledge Network has a whole heap of information and it's got all of its what's news. So a lot of it's going to be similar to the help, but you seem to get a little bit more information from each one. So again, we looked at a lot of those, and you can go into them a bit further if you wish. And of course, there's the AutoCAD blog, which Autodesk look after. This most probably gets into a little bit more information about each of the commands. So what's new in AutoCAD 22? And it's talking, if we go and click on that. Okay, increase accuracy by automating counting. And it's got a whole thing on your block counting, all the variables that come with it. It's got a video on it. So have a look at the blog. The blog's most probably one of the better places to go, I think. And from there, I suppose we're at our Q&A. Now, someone always thinks there's something outside the square. Does the block count also count blocks that are inside blocks? This is from Andrew McKeon. Andrew, I haven't tried, so I suppose the quick thing to do is actually come in. Let's go and grab, let's copy 2 more of these. Let's just draw there, and I'll make a new block called test. So I've got 2 chair blocks inside that. Okay, so there's my new block. Let's come through now and go and have a look at the block counting. So under my view blocks, now I know I'll try that again, Glenn. On my count. Well, there's your answer. It was definitely 68 before, 66 before. It's now 68. So it's found my test, but it's also found the 2 chairs inside of that. So if I delete that block, you can see it drops back to 66. So, Andrew, yes, you can. Okay, I've just got another question from Matt Barrett. Regarding the floating tabs, does the command line work with the active tab, or do you need to relocate the command line to the required tab? It works with the active tab, so whichever tab you're in, which can be a bit off-putting if you're working on your command lines on the left-hand screen and you activate the right-hand screen's tab. You've got to keep flicking across, so people are dragging the command line around just because they're not used to working that way. But it works with the active tab. So if you've got any questions, just chuck them into the Q&A. Okay, Caroline, oh geez, I hope I say this right, Closey. Is a full download of a deployment still possible? Yes, the way they're doing a lot of deployments is from your Manage tab. So when I say your Manage tab, I'm not talking about up here. Is if you go to your manageautodesk.com, you can go in there and start setting up a lot of stuff inside there for your deployments. So you log into that, and instead of just downloading, you can do the deployments from here. Okay, so have a look at this. It's the sort of thing, possibly we could run a session just on this type of thing, but deployments are definitely still available. Kenneth Yun has asked, changes to annotation. Well, there's nothing really been done in this version that I'm aware of that's considered an update to annotation. So that's still going on its own merry way. I suppose what we could say is if you look at the block counting capabilities and the fact you can put tables in and you can copy and paste those fields into pieces of text, that would be the only annotation additions, if you wish, but nothing to any of this stuff at all to do with annotation. That's pretty stable the way it is. All right. Any other questions? Oh, okay. A further question by Caroline was talking about the deployments. Have they improved it so that it is of a similar configurability to when we used to do it locally? I've got to fess up here. I've not done this new deployment. It's something I've got to now have a play around with myself. I know a few of the other techs here have actually been well into it. So if you're getting to it, okay, I can see Caroline's not impressed with it at the moment. If you're having issues with the new deployment, get onto our help desk and ask the questions there and see if the guys can help. Excuse me. All right. Do we have any other questions? Okay. Taufik has asked, does block count work per view or entire drawing? And what about blocks on frozen layers? Okay, well, we can tie that out. It's the whole drawing. But if we were to just find this layer here, we've got shares. So I'll just come through and freeze shares. And let's just erase that one. We'll do a fresh block count. I love picking the wrong one. And we can see there, frozen are not counted. Okay. So it does the whole drawing, but frozen are not counted. So let's just come back here, unfreeze that, and chairs come back. All right, well, that answers that one. So block count can't count frozen layers. Now I've got my own question. Can it do layers that switched off? And the answer there is no. So they have to be visible. Okay. Any other questions at all? All right. Well, we're most probably getting to, well, we are towards the end of that. So basically, I'd just like to say thank you very much for your attendance. Keep going to our webpage, looking under events for any upcoming webinars. And thank you for watching. And if you need any information, please contact us via email at info@a2ktechnologies.com.au. Thank you very much for your time and goodbye.